Hey, you. Welcome back to the channel. And guys, I hope you're having a great Sunday. Just want to bring some information to you all today as I'm catching up on my Joe Rogan podcast. I love watching Joe Rogan's show. But interesting enough, Joe Rogan is quite pro crypto. And he's talking about how cryptocurrency can be the future of money. And of course, any mention of Bitcoin is good for the space. Um, I think Bitcoin has received great press and great media attention. I think when we speak of mass adoption, I don't think it's so much that Bitcoin doesn't get the attention it needs, or that people don't know about it clearly. Just about everybody now has heard of Bitcoin. I think the problem is when people come into the space, uh, Bitcoin, the structure of Bitcoin isn't really yet developed to the user experience as of yet, and that's a problem. That means that although a lot of people have come into Bitcoin, they've also went out of Bitcoin, or they might not find it quite practical. But it's very interesting because the interviews with Killer Mike. Now, Killer Mike, being this rapper personality, activist, you probably remember him a great deal from the Bernie Sanders campaign. He was reaching out to a lot of inner city youth and trying to motivate people to vote for Bernie Sanders, who would offer them, from his point of view, a better opportunity. But I just find it so interesting because much of the conversation is talking about how Bitcoin can bring much of these freedoms and the things that Killer Mike is speaking about. And Killer Mike uh, um, doesn't know a whole lot about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? He's heard of it like a lot of people, but he doesn't fully understand its what it can do for the future of money and opportunity to people. You know, that Bitcoin being deflationary, a lot of the issue is in our money system itself, where inflation and a lot of the value of people's money is going out, controlled by governments and banking cartels. And they speak in this interview about, will the banking cartels be able to be controlled? Will something like a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin be able to flourish? And Joe Rogan speaks about the decentralization of it and the fact you got to basically turn off the internet to stop Bitcoin. But I think personally, from what I'm seeing about it, even though it's a very pro cryptocurrency message, and that's great, um, as we understand it, Joe Rogan back in 2014 had a wallet with 5.2 Bitcoin in it. And I think to this day, he still has that 5.2 Bitcoin in that wallet. And so we're not certain if maybe he has lost the password. I think during the interview, Killer might ask him, did he make a lot of money with Bitcoin? He says no. So I don't know if that's just him trying to kind of pull a 50 cent type thing, where he doesn't really want to just, talk about how much, money he has, or if it's just that, it's a situation where he's maybe just going to hold that Bitcoin, until it goes up high in value, or until it becomes like this mass adopted cryptocurrency. But I want to mention a few things. One I want to mention was that I don't necessarily think that it just takes turning off the internet to stop Bitcoin, right? When governments really see something as a threat, what they can do is they can start to shut down, go directly after the node runners. They can start to basically start locking people up and arresting them. And that fear of prison and jail could, I wouldn't say it would stop Bitcoin, but it probably would greatly limit a lot of users of Bitcoin. So that's a great possibility that that could happen. So it's probably ways that Bitcoin can be stopped, but pretty much the idea is that a lot of people feel that Bitcoin, because the government can trace Bitcoin, and then it's legal to have a token or a currency or a local economy using money to transact back and forth as long as you're paying taxes. That's not a problem. So the idea is that the federal government, because they can trace Bitcoin, they don't they don't see Bitcoin as a threat. They can still go after who they want and tax who they want. So that's not a big problem. I think what we really need to look at though and kind of be mindful of though is that you know we should be willing to pay our taxes in Bitcoin. I don't think it's a problem so much, not wanting to pay taxes, even though I know some people feel paying taxes is theft, from the government, that it shouldn't be done. But then taxes do a lot of good things to keep the system running to a certain degree. And so, I don't want to go real deep into if people should pay taxes or not on their Bitcoins and their cryptocurrencies. But I will say there are things the government can do to kind of control cryptocurrency still. However, I think the important part is that cryptocurrency is deflationary, and a lot of the value that is being lost in our money and our monetary system today, and a lot of the opportunities taken away, especially like what Killer Mike advocates for in poor people, with their money being inflated, and so they got less of their money and they're already poor. That if you had this deflationary cryptocurrency, then that would act against that to a great degree. But I think that kind of having this consensus and acceptance of a cryptocurrency, maybe on the scale like what we're doing with Bitcoin MYK, our project, I think that probably makes a lot more sense in having this user-friendly way to adopt people in through just a social media site, things they can easily cling to and identify with. I think that probably makes more sense in it. But it is a great interview, guys. It's Joe Rogan's very pro crypto. His podcast gets a lot of viewers. I think this already got over 1 million or something views. So the idea that Bitcoin isn't mass adopted, I don't think it's not mass adopted. It's enough information about Bitcoin. It's on CNBC every day. It's not being suppressed. And what that tells me is that the problem with Bitcoin is that the structure of Bitcoin hasn't done a good job of going to the user experience. Because if it did, I think that a lot of people who are being made aware of Bitcoin every day, and like I said, the media is not suppressing it. There aren't anybody trying to shut it down. The government's not trying to shut it down. Then that we need to look back into the structure of Bitcoin, and projects like Bitcoin MYK. I invite you all to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description as well. We need to look into ways to make this more easily user friendly to the end user. But that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Guys, if you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, take care.